Welcome to Trusting in the Lord, a channel sharing Jesus' teachings to help you live with peace, love, and strength. Today's message is about faith, the power to believe when things don't make sense, and the courage to trust God even when life feels completely out of control. Let's explore how faith works, how it grows, and how it carries us through both the storms and the stillness. When the path ahead is foggy, life doesn't always give us a clear view of what's next. There are seasons where we feel like we're standing in the dark, unsure of where to go. In those moments, we crave certainty, but Jesus offers something even greater: faith. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. When the road ahead is unclear, faith becomes our compass, guiding each step, even if we can't see the final destination.
A tiny seed, a big promise. Jesus once compared faith to a mustard seed, tiny, almost invisible. Yet it holds the potential to grow into something unshakable. That's the promise of faith. Even when it starts small, it has power when rooted in trust. You don't need massive faith to see God work. You just need to start with what you have and let Him do the rest. Real faith says, "I don't know how, but I believe you will."
Faith is a daily decision. Faith is not a one-time declaration. It's a daily posture. Every morning, we get to choose. Will I live in fear or in trust? Some days you may feel strong, ready to believe without hesitation. Other days, it may be hard just to pray. But faith grows stronger through these choices. It shows up not in loud declarations, but in small decisions, like choosing kindness, offering grace, or simply saying, "I trust you," in the quiet of your heart. Peter walks on water, a lesson in trust. Imagine a man stepping out of a boat in the middle of a raging sea, simply because he sees Jesus and wants to be with him. That's what Peter did. And for a moment, he walked on water. But when his focus shifted from Jesus to the storm, he began to sink. This story isn't about failure. It's about focus. Faith lifts us above our circumstances. Fear pulls us under. But even when we falter, God reaches for us. That's the grace of faith. It doesn't require perfection, only trust. God never promised easy, but He promised His presence. It's tempting to think that faith means everything will go smoothly. But God never promised an easy road. What He does promise is His presence. In every hardship, in every delay, in every heartbreak, He is there. Faith holds on to that promise. It says, "Even if I walk through the hardest days of my life, I know I'm not walking alone." Faith doesn't require all the answers. We often want to understand before we obey. But faith flips that. It moves first and understands later. God may call you into something without giving you the full picture. He may ask you to take a risk, step out, let go, without showing you how it ends. That's the essence of faith, acting on trust, not certainty. The woman who touched His cloak. There's a story of a woman who had suffered silently for years. Doctors couldn't help. People ignored her, but her faith remained. She believed that if she could just touch the edge of Jesus' cloak, she would be healed. And she was right. She didn't demand a spotlight. She didn't need attention. Her quiet, persistent faith changed her life. Sometimes the deepest faith comes from the quietest voices, the ones who believe without needing recognition. When faith feels like waiting, not all faith looks like movement. Sometimes it looks like stillness. Waiting can feel like nothing is happening. But in faith, waiting becomes an act of worship. It says, "God, I trust you enough to stay still and let you move first." That kind of faith is not passive. It's powerful, because it rests in God's timing, not our own. Faith is obedience without evidence. Faith is trusting before we see the results. It's stepping out before the way is fully open. It's forgiving someone even when they haven't said sorry. It's giving when we're unsure of how our own needs will be met. It's taking action, not because everything is clear, but because we know God is faithful. Faith doesn't wait for proof. It trusts God's character.
Faith without works is dead. Real faith moves us. It doesn't stay locked in our thoughts. It becomes action. It shapes how we love, how we serve, how we respond to the world. If we say we believe but never live like it, that belief stays shallow. But when faith fuels our daily lives, our words and choices align. We become walking testimonies of trust, strengthening faith in hard times. Hard times don't mean God has abandoned you. In fact, they're often where your faith is being refined. When you read truth, even when you feel doubt. When you pray, even with a heavy heart. When you choose to believe, even in tears, your faith is growing stronger. Like muscles stretched under pressure, your trust in God becomes more resilient with every trial. Your faith can inspire others. Your story matters. When others see how you trust God, especially in your darkest seasons, they find hope for their own lives. You may never know the impact of your quiet perseverance, but your faith could be the spark that helps someone else believe again. Jesus walks the journey with you. Faith is not about how strong you are. It's about how strong God is. You don't have to carry the weight of belief alone. He is the one who walks with you, lifts you when you fall, and gently leads you forward. Faith doesn't mean you never question. It means you keep going, even with your questions. And God honors that. Faith for today and for tomorrow. Let today be the day you say, God, I trust you. Not because you see the end, not because life feels easy, but because you know He is good. Take one more step. Pray one more time. Stay faithful one more day. Faith doesn't have to be loud. It just needs to be alive. And when it is, it changes everything. Thank you for joining us today. If this message encouraged your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Trusting in the Lord. Join us tomorrow as we continue this journey through Jesus' teachings. One day, one truth, one step of faith at a time. God bless you and keep the faith.